For this demo, I'm assuming that you have some knowledge of the previous versions of Sketch. If you don't, still watch it, as I'm sure you'll find it of interest. Let's first begin with remembering what 6D Sketch is all about. It's very simply an embroidery sketch pad. It's just as easy to use as a sketch pad and doesn't require any embroidery knowledge. Everyone from 5 to 95 can use 6D Sketch. Just like a sketch pad is best used with a pencil, 6D Sketch can be used effectively with a computer equivalent, a pen tablet, such as those produced by Wacom. It can, of course, be used with a mouse. With that in mind, let's look around the program. On the right is the control panel, with two tabs for the two different types of tools, standard and free. The standard tools act like ordinary pencils and pens, from thin pencils to thick marker pens. To add the detail on the eagle's head, I use the red pencil. Notice that as I move around, I only get the stitches when I want them, as if I was lifting the pencil from the paper. The equivalent of an embroidery being a trim. Now you can see I've made this line too long, so just as I would on a sketch pad, I just use the eraser to remove what I don't want. There are also the standard selection tools in the main toolbar available if I prefer. I also don't now have to worry about my work coming undone, as tie-offs and tie-ons are automatically added where I need them. Where I want a more definite line, I can use the blue pencil, which will give me a triple stitch. All these tools on the standard tab will give a constant stitch length or density dependent on the settings in the appropriate options. We also have the option to draw perfectly straight lines, just as if we were using a ruler, by switching from freehand draw mode to line mode. If we open up an existing design, this car for instance, it looks okay, but with Sketch I can make it even better. If I switch to line mode, then I choose one of the marker pens, which will give me a satin line, a 4mm I think in this case. I can add a road. This is a great hidden feature of 6D Sketch, its ability to just add to existing designs rather than making the designs from scratch. As we realise that not everyone can draw, 6D Sketch has an ability to load up an image as a background and then you can trace over it. You can do as much or as little stitching as you like. For instance, with this image you could decide just to create the bridge and then to use the print options to print the picture onto transfer paper. Now let's look at the tools on the free tab. Let's first just dim the picture to make it easier to work with. The free motion tools are time dependent. That is, they will give a different result depending on how quickly you move, just as if you were creating free motion embroidery. If we start with the water, I'll first use the Pick Colour tool to choose the colour. I click where I want to choose the colour, and then the program automatically shows me the nearest match in my chosen database. Now I will use the horizontal zigzag tool, which will give me a parallel zigzag stitch. I'll set it to a wide 6mm stitch. As you can see, the faster I move, the more open the stitches appear. This enables me to give a depth to the design. Now to give some background depth to the bridge structure, I'll use the rotational zigzag. This keeps the angle of the zigzag to 90 degrees to the cursor, so I can get the curve of the bridge. As the bridge is tapering away into the distance, I can use the Z shortcut key to make the zigzag narrower or the X key to make it wider as I go. To put in the step towers, I can use the satin line pens on the standard tab. For the main cables I want a very thin satin. I have only preset satin markers for the 2, 4 and 6mm width. No problem, as the last marker pen is a custom one. Select the pen, click on the options button below, and now I can add the options I want. Before we do much more, I will just outline the hills in the background using a combination of the single stitch tool and the triple stitch where I want some more emphasis. Now we can concentrate on the bridge. Rather than putting all the separate spars on the bridge platform, I'll use the Motif Line paintbrush. We have hundreds of machine and universal motifs to choose from, all of which can be created at different sizes. Now we've finished, we can either use the Live View or the Design Player to audition the embroidery. On the Free tab, we have one final tool to show you, the Calligraphy Pen. To copy the effect of holding the pen at different angles, we have the Calligraphy Angle control. And remembering that it is on the Free tab, so the faster I write, the more open the stitches become, I'll say goodbye for now, and happy sketching.